On a cold morning of the month of October, there is a boy born in the narrow streets of Brussels. This children of Hollywood's wildest and a kick that will shock the world when the time comes that would be the hero of one of the stories didn't know it yet. Jean-Claude Van Damme, October 18, 1960, the son of a mother and a father his eyes as accountant's florist when it opens. No one promises to win the hearts of millions of Muslims him one day. Say, 5 times I would marry, and would be standing still addicted to cocaine could have predicted that we would remain. After experiencing all of this to survive requires a strong will. Growing up in a strict Roman Catholic family in small Jean-Claude, with the love of a Jewish grandmother fed, maybe in the future this will be a bridge between religions respect that laid the foundations of Islam. In the period of more than one religious youth to recognize, gave him a different perspective. The beginning of the story wasn't good, short, skinny and shy. He was a boy oppressed in school, in the gym, scorned. An entity was even ashamed of her own body. Eugene saw that father, son and her 10-year-old that led into the hall, and Carita's first step in the hall was the moment everything changed. Because Jean-Claude fight only didn't learn to survive, learned to be patient and strong. Hours, days, years he suffered through blood and sweat. He broke in again and again, but each time a little more grew stronger. A black belt in karate at the age of 18, when the oppressed no longer receives the course, the instructor not children. Bench press 180 pounds instead of the lift. The legs are capable of opening 180 degrees. There was a warrior who can knock out a person with one shot. This was an amazing change. Belgium has the best body in the young, elected in 1978, 1979 European Karate Champion. It encountered his own teammate Angelo in the final. But by the time I get there 25, he got by knocking out your opponent, each one with a single shot lay. Karate champion, the first rule to be robust psychological game. Their reason for this all expertly muscles is to apply thinking and action plans. If you are mentally weak, Van Damme current reputation, if you were an athlete, he couldn't never get it. All his rivals many beats as a fighter, and karate was forgotten. When you see him start to sweat in the ring, kickboxing, match the competitors in the world would 1976 faced with punched it in the nose in the first round match champion Patrick Tugels that collapsed. Go back to the beginning of consciousness closed in. Blood started coming out of his nose, but to continue, wanted to get support from the arms. Next to their furry in the ring at the beginning, he was too busy counting the time it takes for it to be lifted from the ground. Backwards from 10, the referee began to count. Time was running out rapidly, but he was so shaken that Tugels he did confirm it by using your arms in the last seconds, trying to get back up, completely collapsed, and was unable to continue the match. Percent won by knockout match up to 1981. This excellent statistics that is a success story. No athlete win all the matches by knockout. It is not a very common situation. So, Van Damme each practice for max sounded like you want to do. In the history of Belgium had seen such a thing, but Jean-Claude the bigger the dream. The eyes are always by on the ocean, America, Hollywood, lights, cameras, fame. Crazy concluded her career in 1982 with a decision to be a player and fight all the money and accumulate a one-way ticket. He bought 200 in his pocket when she landed at the Los Angeles airport dollars. He didn't speak English, wasn't the only person he knew, but had dreams, send those dreams everything he was willing to. Real harsh were open to him the doors to Hollywood, not unlike every door slammed in your face. Too short, it's in English. It allows the player to facial contours. Nobody couldn't pronounce his name. As soon as he sees him, casting directors he was sending. A terrible fighter, but didn't have a problem with being ringty his place. The money started going, and driving a cab he did. In order to continue his life, earn money it had to. The city is rich. Americans, when they were in the path of their dreams, felt a little more every day that you lost. Flooring made upholstery, knees crashing on the floor of the houses of the rich is like your own life fitting thought that. Waiting tables, She made herself when she was serving food to the Hollywood stars if he thought he could never sit at that table. In a cheap motel room for the night he was working in English. The difficulty of learning a language without any knowledge until the morning it was going to work out in the morning. I was trying to survive during the day, but gave up. When you look at yourself in the mirror every morning was the only thing you said to them, someday I'm going to show was saying. In 1983, the first took the role, was an extra in a movie called Break-In Dance in the background dancing even when he was full he didn't look in his face. But that's how it feels to be on screen. Fate stepped in and had a taste of that when it hit me. Most off the time he's Chuck Norris, one of the greatest action stars noticed her. The flexibility of Van Damme's movements saw and gave her a small role in the energy. A side character in a movie missing in action. But you can just chuck it out. The Van Damme got a job as a guard at the gate to a bar. At a good salary, money properly for the first time, was winning for the first time in Hollywood. Thanks to Chuck Norris, doorspacing was started in 1986 film No Retreat, No Surrender. The bad guy Russian invigorated. His first serious role was the fight scenes were so impressive that the film Wasp people started to talk to him from entering. But the biggest chance in 1987, Arnold starring Schwarzenegger was chosen for the role of the creature in the movie Predator. Flexibility, speed, agility, because it was perfectly compatible for the role, but shots when the problem was. The monster that was so hot loved the costume constantly in motion high-density scenes, sweating and couldn't breathe. Had narrowed her costume so much. Go the extra mile was making. Even though how hard he struggled after a few days, Kevin Peter Hall Predator has left and took the film in the role that became a legend. Van Damme asked if there was regret this for years, because if he said no every time my film would be made if I stayed in the movie was saying, and he was right. 1988 Bloodsport was released. With a low budget and $500,000, a simple action movie, at the box office bombed despite being planned. Effect in America created the world records. Van Damme became an overnight star. In America, Karatesi recognized and loved people in a movie from Brussels. In Pooh began to be recognized. The offers began pouring in. Delta Force, American Ninja 3, Cyborg. I was getting offers from all these films. No longer have difficulty financially with it. During the day. And at night as a taxi driver wouldn't have to do carrot training. This the proposals discussed for a long time, which roles to develop itself in terms of a career Tanada and Cyborg thought would chose, but the film was a dud. Then, in 1989, Kickboxer came, and the errors in the old movies I had not done this time everything was perfect. Legend kicks his job because he was throwing fight and the fight scenes was perfect. That famous scene in mind always kicking the tree remained. Flexibility of the body shows like dancing fighting style. The film $3 million to $50 million was taken gross dollars. Van Damme had been an action star, now he wasn't just an icon. Watching it now, all the kids who want to do sports over the age of 40 viewers then was a Van Damme fan. Like her open legs 180 degrees it was working. Learned karate kicks in the air and did like him. Everyone, like most men dream of, was to make him the idol he had nav. The 1990s was a golden age for him. Lionheart, Double Impact, Universal Soldier, Nowhere Run, Hard Target, Timecap, Street Fighter, back-to-back movies was coming. Now wind all of the bids was starring in movies for getting all the action behind the scene. Each at the box office he was doing a bang. 1994 movie Timecap, $120 million grossed. Van Damme the action stars was one of the most expensive in the world right now, but success with the darkness also brought. The dense set of the life, day and night, sleep and the pace of work is maddening level. A movie was making more than for year. Every day, 18 hours was on the set for the money he was winning, but he spent a lot of it and started spending. Previous he was getting thinking about things in your life you can't afford to buy. Luxury cars, the villas, the parties, offer him drugs and on day someone when she was sick from the stress he only once, he said to himself, only to relax once but never once no. Drug use increased, and he was using torque on the sets. Relax energy was adopted in good faith by thinking that, but all thematter as it is immediately created their addiction. Almost every day, even more Thanon per day once you started using it. Then in batches, then home, then everywhere, her parents, his friends warned him, but he didn't listen. That he can control himself. He used to think. Under Entral K was saying, but it wasn't. In 1999, arrested for drunk driving, the police they arrested in the same year psychiatrists him a bipolar diagnosis, but the real bomb exploded in marriages. First Maria Rodriguez finished with marriage made in 1980, 1985, married with Cynthia Durderian but before very long had left. Gladys bodybuilding athlete in 1987, married Portugues divorced in 1992, but more ongoing marriage had a life. Darcy Lapierre is married with a 1994 model, but at the same time his ex-wife Gladys with Shea was seeing, and he was fooling Darcy and Gladys. And then in the movie Street Fighter Kylie Minogue, set with romance began. This union they got divorced and he has-learned to Darcy. In 1999 his ex-wife remarried with Gladys. Everyone I've changed old habits I got rid of, the better I felt, I said, but it hadn't. The mid-2000s, Ukrainian began a secret relationship with model Alina Kaverina. Gladys learned again, but this time has forgiven because Van Damme agreed to go to therapy. Please be aware that in itself is not healthy arrived at. On top of that, he's been treated for bipolar disorder, struggled with addiction. He recovered slowly, but once it bad when your name is mentioned in Hollywood it wouldn't be easy topics. Reputation, crazy, addicted, unstable, unreliable movies decreased or did not offer the same anymore. B-tier she was playing in the movies. 2008. Sylvester Stallone gave a party. Van Damme invited too, but Steven Seagal at the party there. There was animosity between Seagal since 1997. Van Damme, Seagal in an interview, Van Damme's real fighters. Not only is the dancer, he said, when he saw her at the party Van Damme went straight to him. Let's go outside, he said. Between us we can settle the matter, said, according to Stallone. Seagal excuses find and escaped from the party. He said he knew Stallone. Van Damme was very strong. He was aware that it would be unable to beat. His career is getting better in 2010. He starred in The Expendables 2, $300 million grossed, erected a statue in Brussels. Belgium declared him a national hero, but Noble bomb exploded in 2017. Jean-Claude Van Damme. United Arab Emirates NBC gave an interview to the channel and put them in front of millions of people live there, he said. The Prophet Muhammad, he was very smart for the future, and what's good for the human body, he knew that. People suggested it, and now the number of people enthralled who believe in him, he said, too much. Muslims see their food, bread, almonds, apple sand body simple for its good food. Thank God they never revolt in every situation they live they won't. This them is a test of situations by the Creator to live knowing that. Deed then he arose them when they believe the will of heaven as a reward. They make every here's the Creator make the best of it that they have to see you know about them all the time. They believe that. Go and read. Muslims have many nice things I have discovered on this subject. Any to tell you don't believe me, said that's where you'll find everything you're looking for. Studio froze, the server, it was a shock, but Van Damme continued, calmly friendly, was talking to Islam. The Prophet Muhammad on nutrition policy forecast mentioned his contribution to science Muslim culture. Mathematics and physics literature in the fields of science and its contribution to Muslim people throughout history, now that he mentioned, was the foundation of the technologies we use. The interview on the internet when it was published, people went crazy. The Muslims in the face of these comments back the religion of Islam have nothing to do with his life, because he had a life that was it. Things to do were prohibited in the religion of Islam. Van Damme became a Muslim. Headings through millions of sharing on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter were made. But another cut, he was angry. His career is over, they said. They said she'd never forgive him. Hollywood, movie quotes they said to be Q10, indeed, the roles of 2017 and received no later than diminished. Major studios sheiked at her distance, but Van Damme didn't care, said in an interview toward I Know I Told You. I have respect for to respect Islam and the Prophet Mohammed. For saying this is themed of my career. If you're finished, I'm not a liar, he said. Muslim okay. No Catholic Islam Muslim friends that respects but still deeply reads the Quran that clearly said, and through honesty millions of people made a legend in the eyes. 2020's Netflix has signet agreements with new projects develops, at the age of 63, still doing sports, still kicking, still with her legs 180 degrees opens. 5 marriages, 3 children, cockney diction, bipolar diagnosis. Hollywood fights the fall and rise again of ascension among the Muslims in Turkey. All love her always proudly told me. Turkey is a special country, he said at every opportunity. Turkish the television show, participated in a photo shoot with the fans. It was in Turkish words he learned. Just this guy's story, its note about punches and kicks, that the story of a man who never gives up. Hardwood 5 mastery to America penniless, who humiliated, but never give up is the story of a man who doesn't. Addictions, mental illness, the story of a struggling but surviving fighter offlier, and perhaps most importantly different religions, different cultures showing respect for the Prophet Mohammed, praise and layout. It's the story of a person who is willing to pay the price for this. Jean-Claude Van Damme, in the glittering world of Hollywood, there's nothing left, just an action star. That's life, all rebuild stronger after each fall through hoops, got up in the fall. He was a man, perhaps his greatest triumph. And the muscless off kick or not movies, it was the spirit who is not submissive, respect and honesty never becoming the end. The real power punches not remain standing, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, in spite of everything, still standing. Jean-Claude Van Damme, what I know about the stories off on my channel. You can subscribe if you're wondering. By sending the video to your friends, you can ensure that they also will have information. Please support me by liking the video.